Welcome to Buy My Bag, the show where crypto connoisseurs shill their bags to other crypto connoisseurs in hopes to get them to, that's right, buy their bag. There's not too many rules of this game. Basically, we'll have a group of judges sit in while our bag holder of the evening comes on and attempts to shill their bag, or maybe a developer wants to come on and talk about their new project. And then the judges will ask a few rounds of questions before finally, ultimately, deciding whether or not they'll buy that bag. They may even have a few questions already prepared for tonight's guest. Maybe they did their own research. You should too. Anyway, without further ado, let's meet our judges.
What's up? I'm Chase. I have been in crypto since May of 2017, and I started out with just Ethereum, thinking that was the best thing in the world, and then actually started paying attention to other stuff. I slowly but surely figured out that doing anything with a relatively high cap is probably going to lose me money, so now I just focus on low and micro cap projects, and that's turned out to be pretty successful for the past 6 to 9 months. So if you need BitMEX questions answered, I'm not your guy, but Qtrade and below, generally a lot more informed.
Yes, crypto people know me as CrypticMonk. I quite unironically joined this for the tech because I saw my grand dreams of a free and open internet crumble. But then I found out that this revolution also hands out free money, and I might or might not have stayed for the free money. I'm still FA oriented mostly due to my heavy tech background with almost 20 years in tech. And I'm still looking for projects that kind of fulfill the original promise of crypto of being permissionless and decentralized. So that's what I'll be looking for and asking for.
G'day, I'm Red, Simian Cosmonaut, for those listening in from Discord. I'm a business analyst in real life. I jumped on the crypto bandwagon in December 2017. I did everything wrong and learned some painful lessons. I didn't rage quit, chose to learn and surround myself with the best in the business. And I'm still here, so I'm either a complete moron or genius for doing so. Time will tell.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Next up, we have our bag holder. He's going to talk about a coin that's been making a few waves past few months. And the man's known to make a few waves himself. He goes by the name Showerhead.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Bathfeet. Hello. I started crypto 2011. Lost all my Bitcoin right before 2013 pump. Came back 2016. Been at it ever since. And lead shiller of a coin called NYZO. That's all I just want to say.
And that's why you're here. So if you'd like to get started, go ahead and take around 2 minutes to tell us why you like NYZO and why we should like NYZO.
Sure. So they're a form of consensus, proof of diversity. Probably the most decentralized form of consensus I've seen, with a very low cost barrier. So it takes $7 roughly a month, run a VPS, and then join the mesh, and then get randomly selected. So you try to prevent 51% attacks, and more people join. So it gets harder and harder to try to overtake the network. Fast, incredibly fast. There's 7-second blocks. There's a couple, issues such as like 2%, 2.5% fees, I believe, for each transaction, but still early phase in the project, and the community decides everything. Like the developers of NYZO don't even run the Discord or any of the social media things. They left it all to the community, where guys like Vincent and I and Quantum Blocks and Snipe all kind of pitched in for things like that. The code I don't program, but from what I'm told, the code is incredible in terms of its simplicity and how clean it is. And the developer only cares about the code, and he doesn't want any say in anything, which makes my heart flutter. Oh, I love that.
So whichever of the three of you want to start us off, if you have a question for shower, bath, head, feet.
Okay, I got an easy one. You mentioned the idea that you think the NYZO devs might be Satoshi. Do you actually think that's possible, or are you just being ridiculous?
I mean, I can't ever prove it unless they sign some keys, right? But an anonymous developer team, because it's clearly a team, and there's a lot of evidence that Satoshi was a team and not just one person, because there's just way too many things that went into creating Bitcoin that you would need to know: game theory, economics, technology, blah 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 blah. As it kind of has all that figured out, minus a couple little things, but anonymous. They don't want to say who they are at all. They don't want to. What was the other? There was one more thing. I apologize. Give me a second. I just woke up for people. I said that already. Whatever. 1 second. What was it? Oh, he won't just reply to my questions of asking if he's Satoshi. That's what I'm going off of. But I mean, yeah, I can't prove it. So I mean, possibility though. No other developers have ever entered the way NYZO has, and the way I found their coin, was through GitHub. Hours upon hours upon hours of searching, and then I found it one day, and then they would have never done the Bitcoin Talk announcement or anything. Their project would have still been on their testnet, from what they told me, if I never found it yet.
So you were a birth helper, so to say.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm the lead shill.
Do you know of any plans of being more than just like a coin with fast finality? Do you think there should be such plans?
Yeah, because your money. Money has to be. What's that word?
Fungible.
Yeah, that one. That, and then there was an idea that Snipe had. I don't know if he's ever going to do it or whatever. He wants to. Oh God, I'm not going to say it because I'm going to sound like an idiot if I don't have the words in front of me.
Are you talking about the Veriblock-esque type thing where he's like it? Yeah,
and if you know me, you know my issues with it. There's that. They do have other plans in the future for NYZO, but they haven't gone into specifics of what it is yet. And I assume it's because they work thing by thing and they want to fix the issues before, introducing some kind of ridiculous, low and they want to slow development is way better development than, fast and breaking everything. Slow and working is just way better. So I assume that's why they haven't gone into future plans for like features and stuff.
Right.
I'll give them. I'll ask them. Sorry, I didn't expect to shill NYZO so early in the morning. I just
You got an easy job here. You brought me to NYZO, so.
I think that's a good answer, though. You make the boat float first, and then paint it.
Yeah, exactly. And if most coins I deal with, they don't follow that. There's only one other coin I can really think of that'll take it slow, and they'll discuss everything with other developers in the community and stuff like that. I'm not going to say the coin because I'm not here to show that one.
All right. Well, let's get to another question. Who's up next?
Right, so I'll take one for the team and ask about the dev fund. 80 million coins, or 80% of the total supply, is a pretty alarming figure. That, coupled with an anonymous team, are probably the two red flags for those considering investing in NYZO. And that would probably prevent a lot of people from even digging a little bit deeper. I know the devs have created a fairly open forum for discussing the topic. Just really want your opinion on that and what you would like to see the dev fund utilised for.
Sure. Well, the first thing I just want to mention the anonymous developer thing. I don't think anonymous developers is a bad thing at all. I understand they hold 80% of the supply, but anonymous developers, if I recall correctly, the guy who originally created Crypto Note was anonymous. He may have been figured out recently, but he originally was anonymous. Satoshi and a couple other coins, but Grin, Mimawumbo, excuse me. So that's not really an issue with me. The 80 million pre-mine, that I can understand being an alarming thing. It just doesn't make sense at the moment anyway. I mean, as the network grows and value grows, if it grows higher, I'm not saying it will. Yeah, I can understand that being a huge alarming issue, but there's no liquidity to dump any of this. There's no reasoning. There's no reason yet. They put clearly a lot of effort into NYZO. It's been almost a year since their GitHub originally went out. So they've been working on this for quite a long time. So the dump at this stage makes no sense. There's no way to do it without, there's no money to dump into yet. They can dump $1 million, I guess, and get away with a couple $1,000s or whatever, but why do it now? As the network grows, I can see that being a bigger issue as time goes on. For now, I'm pretty all right with that. What I want to see the pre-mine being spent on, bug bounties. Granted, I would like to see a framework built around the bug bounties instead of
arbitrary.
Yeah, they kind of give out rewards a little without much
Structure.
Yeah, there we go. And then what more I want to see the dev reward be spent on? I guess giveaways to people in the waiting in the mesh, waiting to join the mesh.
Bump up the seed transactions.
That one I'm not too sure yet because I don't know.
Or not bump up, but like extend the length of time the seed transaction will.
I'm kind of on the fence about that because it's supposed to last for 6 years, that seed account with all the transactions to distribute to in cycle verifiers. And I understand people will want to see that extended, but you give them a lot more incentive to get the network effects growing as somebody who's in it. If you have a limited number, only a couple years to make the network grow to where it's self-sustainable with transactions going constantly. So I can see. So I'm kind of. I don't have a definite opinion on whether or not we should make the network. Make the seed account extend the fees over 6 years. What else I want to see the Deborah Award being spent on? I don't really know, because I'm against marketing and I'm against paying listing fees.
As a team.
Yeah, it's not a good look, especially marketing. Crypto marketing is also just like you're marketing to other people in the circle jerk. It doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely. I think a GUI and mobile wallet, and perhaps an updated website would do wonders as well.
Yeah, that paint.
Yeah, no, I agreed. A GUI wallet is actually being worked on by, or going to start being worked on by two developers who aren't on the NYZO team at all. They're just people who are, remember the guy who shilled NYZO to Charlie Lee like a week or two ago? And then it's him and his roommate. I think they're going to start building a GUI wallet because they're just enthralled with NYZO and just want to help it out. So
nice.
And then they're going to get I believe the CLI wallet is going to be start being worked on pretty soon from the official NYZO team, but I'm not too sure about that. I gotta go read through the Discord again. Yeah, I don't really have an answer for that pre-mine. I don't know what I want to see it spent on, other than bug bounty rewards, and I guess maybe rewards for things like building the GUI wallet or building
like a new website,
other things
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to find really competent devs who also know how to make things look pretty. It's such a rare combo. So it's probably going to have to be like somebody out of their team to build a new website and all of that. But yeah. Any more questions?
You had mentioned the idea that the cycle gets harder to attack as it gets bigger. Can you just explain to people why that is, as far as like how that mechanism works to make it harder as it gets bigger?
Oh, sure. Since, 7 verifiers a day can join the mesh. If it's randomly selected and as more and more people join as more and more people join the queue to get into the mesh, it gets harder and harder to get more and more verifiers in cycle. So so it's like the competition of mining, kind of a little bit. Network grows stronger through competition. So with Bitcoin, if you want to control the network through mining or try to double or 51% attack it, there's going to be other people who join with their miners, and that strengthens the network. Competition creates security. And it's the same way with NYZO. We can kind of make a comparison to that as more and more verifiers join. Yeah.
The queue is like the hash rate, kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. So as more and more verifiers join the queue, it gets harder and harder to to get accepted into the cycle. And then if you want to 51% attack it, good luck, because you can't spend more and more resources that you own, because it's based on time more than anything.
And the cycle is the mechanism to getting in the cycle is is a system that the bigger the cycle is, the less verifiers get in each day. Actually, like the time it would take to get 51% of the cycle goes like gets increased almost like exponentially as the cycle keeps getting bigger?
Yeah, that too. So, I mean, good luck. You can try, but yeah. So this is why this is one of the most decentralized forms of consensus I've seen. I honestly haven't seen anything like it. I don't think anybody has that that doesn't require staking, that doesn't have an inherent flaw at the at the base level of what it is. It may have some flaws I'm just not aware of at the moment. There's like one or two incentive issues I kind of think there is, but I'm not too sure about that. But overall, I can't think of a flaw of just letting or just randomly selecting new people to become nodes. And it's based completely off of, what is it? Something to do with hashes that are similar to like a block or something. Once again, I'm not a developer. Kind of stupid. I don't know why people listen to me. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has thought of a flaw. Maybe I can try to explain it, but I can't think of any flaw in their form of consensus.
So I've just got a quick one on the lottery system.
Sure.
So how can, say, one of the little guys that's been patiently waiting get a fair chance of getting accepted in the mesh? Because currently, if I understand it correctly, somebody can launch 1,000 verifiers today and obviously have a significantly better chance of entering than others that have been online for weeks or months. What are your thoughts on this?
It kind of plays into the whole competition through security thing. So I understand maybe one person who's running one verifier is going to be kind of SOL. So but that's like saying somebody mining Bitcoin with their CPU should be treated fairly as well. I mean, not treated fairly, treated equally as somebody who invested tons into ASICs. So I understand that may be a pain in the ass for somebody who's very small time, only renting out one VPS, but it's not good. What's good for that one person is not good for the entire network. So you're just kind of going to have to wait like everyone else. I understand you may be...
you just see it as an acceptable trade-off?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't really... I don't really see the... Yeah, shit out of luck. That's... just going to say it. You're shit out of luck.
Yeah,
if you want to join...
That's what I expected.
If you want to join the verifier thing, get more verifiers. That's all I can say.
That's the point we are seeing here, that people are kind of like starting to mine the queue by buying a bunch of IP addresses and basically just putting 100 or 1,000 verifiers in that might or might not run on a single machine. I think that's like a possible force of centralization. If people would kind of transport this thing into the cycle, so they'd basically have a machine that puts up a front to the network that looks like it's proof of diversity, but in the back end it's just one machine passing data to itself. I don't know whether that would be a possible attack, but that's at least something that I would see isn't prevented by either work, where you have to do a lot of calculation, or by stake, where you have to have a high stake.
Well, would those IP addresses, if they actually get into the cycle, would they have to be moved to a different machine, so to speak? Or would they still be able, like, if say 3 of those verifiers got in, would they still be able to run on that one single machine, or would they have to like move those nodes into a different VPS?
They would have to move to a different VPS, I believe. And if you don't, then if your machine goes down that you have 3 verifiers on, you're screwed. And if you can't fix it, you're screwed, which is more than likely, because trying to fix a node that's hasn't been voting correctly is the biggest pain in the ass I've probably dealt with in past 6 months. you have no idea how many verifiers I've ran that have dropped because I just wasn't paying attention one day. So it's a lot of upkeep if you try to do that. And there was a proposal. I don't know who created it. It may have been Jim Talks Data, but I'm not too sure it was him. But if to try to prevent stuff like that, not really the 1,000 IPs to one machine thing, but like say the Google credits thing, where somebody with like 30 days gets 30 days like free credits on the VPS or whatever. They wanted to propose that in order to get accepted into the lottery system, you have to wait 1 month beforehand to try and prevent, try to keep it fair for people who are already in the queue, so they don't have more competition. They're not. They've been waiting for longer, and I understand that. So anybody who joins the queue, say 20 minutes, or excuse me, 1 month after you, shouldn't have the same equal chance because you've spent time. You spent time on this already. That's your resource. So you should be a tier above them for the lottery system, or to get accepted into the lottery system. So that's one proposal. And then, prevents the free credit guys from just spamming the network and then possibly, making a ton of verifiers and then switching them off to a VPS that actually they pay for and will be, live and stuff. Did that answer your question? I already forgot what the question was. My bad.
No, that's great, mate. Thank you.
It was more like a hint than a question.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's just an interesting discussion to kind of like try to find holes in it, and I've tried to poke holes in the concept for almost a year and haven't managed to do so far. So that alone is exciting. So, yeah.
What would you say?
Sorry, let me just get. It's still a very new project, so this is everything that's happening today may not be the same in like 6 months. So I just want to put that out there now. And also, I'm not a programmer. I'm not a developer. Why isn't Jim here doing this instead?
Oh, we asked you first.
What were you gonna say, Bebop? My bad.
Oh, I think I was Chase. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what do you, and not to bring in any kind of Twitter interactions or anything like that, but what would you think the major issue is for people that are generally interested in traditional proof of work coins? Like, what do you think the major disconnect is for them seeing the benefit of the proof of diversity model, proof of work, outside of just the death fund being there?
Are you talking from like an aspect of spec miners who?
Yeah, pretty much.
Trying to be profitable.
Yeah, like people that don't get why. Like, is it just that they want to see everything through that proof of work framework and they can't really translate it to the same thing with NYZO, and so they kind of, it's just like a lack of understanding, or is it just that they think it's a weaker overall model?
I don't think they think it's a weaker overall model. I think they don't understand what's going on. So the main comparison is it's like running a master node without staking or whatever, or there's no resources, or backing it, like with proof of work staking or whatever.
Right.
But they don't realize time is a very huge resource, and we only have so much time. So,
and it can't be accelerated.
Yeah. So trying to game time, you can't. I don't, unless you have time traveling, you can't game time. So I think that's the major misunderstanding of what's being spent here, and it is time. And then coming from, say, guys who don't like NYZO, because they're spec miners and trying to be profitable or whatever. It's a pain in the ass to deal with if you weren't, in say 3 or 4 months ago, because now the mesh is so huge. Now you're once again shit out of luck.
And salt.
And you can't, that, and then you can't effectively. There's no real metric to really see how much it's going to cost before you get into the mesh, get accepted into the mesh. So that's another thing. I know spec miners, myself included, we all like to calculate costs of everything so we know how profitable it'll be, because of electricity and all that, but you can't get a good metric on how much you're going to spend before, it gets profitable for you. So that's why I want some of the dev rewards to be spent on rewards for people waiting in the queue for so long. So to keep them going, give them something, I haven't proposed it. I don't try to propose anything in there because I'm not the guy. I don't want to. My suggestions may break shit, so I try to shut up about it and let better people discuss it. And there's way better people in it. A lot of people in that Discord, like a lot of developers of other coins, seem to love NYZO. And one day I hope to understand why on their level. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea. Oh God, God damn it.
Yeah, I imagine NYZO currently looks as obscure as Bitcoin did circa 2011-12 to many people.
Yeah. I don't want to make the comparison. I don't want to be that pompous, but completely yes.
You guys have any other questions?
I've got quite a long list, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get to them all. I would say
Same here.
I would say, what do you think? What are your opinions about the idea of buying and selling verifiers? I know there's an issue with you don't know if the person selling has kept a copy of the private key and everything, but just if there was a way to securely sell a verifier, do you think that would be a good thing or a bad thing, or are you kind of indifferent on it?
Well, the upside potential, or excuse me, not potential, the upside to selling and buying verifiers would open up a second market, such as how Pascal coins, they have a second market for Pascal accounts. That's the only upside I can really see to buying and selling verifiers. It's just creating a second market and, letting the market decide how much everything's actually worth. If it were to become safe, not saying now, because there's no safe way to do it now, but if it were to become safe, that's the only upside. The downside is now it kind of, I think it would kind of hinder the proof of diversity because now the time, the resource of time is now ignored. You're not spending time anymore. Now you're spending money to, so now it becomes the equivalent of proof of work. So
more centralization.
Yeah, not maybe not equivalent of proof of work, but the same. Anybody can join, like in proof of work, as long as they have the money to join. So opening up that market, it weakens the network, in my opinion. Yeah. But it is more profitable for people who want to deal with that. Yeah. So I'm kind of against it. Originally I was for it, but I didn't really think about it. And then the other day, I think me and Zalzabab were having a conversation. Then then he sparked into my head why that's an issue. So yeah.
All right. And Monk, you got anything else?
I got so many questions, but I think we're already on it for more than half an hour, right?
Yeah.
So it is an exciting project.
Well, very good. Thank you for the questions, and thank you, Shower, for the info. I guess we'll move on to the next part where you guys decide if you're going to buy this bag.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, as far as, personally, I've been, it's not a secret that I've been a fan of it since December, even though Monk told me about it in October, and I just was too lazy to look into it. The prospects of it are just really hard to ignore, and the idea that there's not that many coins being minted each day, or not minted, but put into circulation from the seed funding, makes it really promising. Personally, because I have verifiers in cycle, I don't know that I would continue to go all in on it necessarily, just because I don't really go all in on anything. But I will say it's already my second or third biggest bag behind Bitcoin and one other project. That's kind of the range I would keep it in, and suggest friends to have it in. And I think a lot of it, because like Shower said, it's so new that 2 months ago it was still a time-based entry into the cycle, and so there's so much that can change. So it's a project you have to monitor, just to make sure that nothing fundamentally changes with the dynamics, to adjust whether or not you want to keep it or buy more. But I think the potential is greater than just about any other project that I've seen. Small a market cap, if you don't include the dev fund. I think the only real concern I have is just the dev fund, and then the ability to get listed on exchanges other than Qtrade, or the really small, low liquidity exchange that it's on. Not that that's a major concern, but it is something to think about, as far as if you do ever want to sell for whatever reason. If you have a decent sized stack, it's going to be hard to do it unless you have an exchange with large liquidity. But obviously, I'm a big fan, and I think it's got tons of room to continue to grow even from now.
All right. Thank you. How about you, Red?
Yeah, from what I've seen, the devs are pretty transparent, very skillful. They're far more interested in coding than anything else, and making things shiny and telling people to buy it. So, look, I have some NYZO. I think I've been in the Discord for several months. However, I was too lazy, really. I thought it would be too hard to set up a verifier and all that sort of thing. So I did jump on board quite late. And now checking the mesh has become part of my daily routine and morning stress upon seeing a red, orange, or yellow verifier, but it's all part of the fun. I guess, my only concern would be that NYZO remains fairly esoteric and inaccessible to a broader use base, simply because, setting up a verifier and, all that sort of stuff is, it's not really for everybody. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's been fun so far.
Thanks, Red. And lastly, Monk.
Yeah, NYZO has been my most interesting follow, I'd say, over the past few months. Thanks also to Shower for making me discover it very, very early. It's not every day that you kind of get the new proof and the new consensus mechanism in this way, and that you get a dev that explains every single step he takes and every single new update. So from a tech perspective, this is for me one of the most exciting projects going on right now. From an investment perspective, I could probably say that about every single bag that I own, and I own quite many, is that I always am ready to accept perfect failure. So it's not that any of this is proven. It's not that any of this will certainly get any adoption, or that the dev will not one day still grow tired of everything and sell his bag in one day. It's just the risks we have to live with. But in kind of like what I said in the beginning, a revolution coming with free money on the side. NYZO is one of the projects that I hope to be able to stay in for quite a long time now. I probably won't buy Shower's back because mine is already indecently big, but yeah.
Do a bro favor. I just want to say one last thing. I've always been a proponent of running a verifier over buying the coin. I just want to put that out there now. Okay. Just the last little hit. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
See you
guys.
later.
See ya.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. Straight from a lead shiller himself. Don't buy NYZO. It's a scam. I'm just kidding. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Buy My Bag. I know I did. This is your host, Bebop, thanking you for tuning in. Until next time.